Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Two-Man Game. Cone, Ryan here again for another episode. It's our final one of the off-season. The NBA season starts tonight as we're posting this episode. Really exciting stuff. So today, because the season is about to begin, we've got to go ahead and make our full standings predictions. We're going to do 1 through 15 in both conferences. I came up with a list. Ryan came up with a list. We're going to come together and make one official prediction between the two of us for standings, which is going to be fun. I know Ryan and I have similar opinions, but there are some stuff that we're very far apart on. So we'll see how that goes. We're also going to do NBA awards, all the major ones. Not going to do all rookie or all NBA or all defensive because that's just a lot for one episode. And then at the end, we're going to talk a bit about our opening night predictions, who we have winning, and maybe some interesting bold predictions that potentially we could see for these first few games. But first, of course, Ryan, how you doing?
Not too bad, man. I just got back from DC, and then I have a couple more. I guess not a couple more. I have one more day of work. I guess as you guys are seeing this, I'll be working on Tuesday, and then I'm traveling to Lynchburg, Virginia. Then I'm traveling pretty much across the whole state for a couple of days. I'm going on a little adventure vacation, and then going to DC again. So I've been on the move, man. So I'm a pooped man, but basketball is here, and we need to talk about it. And also, shout out to Philadelphia Eagles for making me a lot of money the other night. Shout out to Dallas.
There we go. That's always a nice thing. Yeah, if y'all didn't see on Ryan's Twitter, he put a bet on Dallas got her first touchdown score, but because he was on the train, the Wi-Fi was really bad, so it placed it twice. So he won the same bet twice, and it was for a lot of money, which I'm very mad at him because whenever he wins, it's not bets that he or parlays that he sends to me. We have this group chat with some of our friends where we'll send bets and stuff like that we're looking at. It feels like whenever Ryan sends something in there, it doesn't hit, but all the stuff that he does not send to us is what really wins him the money. So I don't know if we curse it or if he just hates us and sends us bad things,
something's cursed.
Yeah. So real quick though, I do want to say, if you're on this episode on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below your standings predictions, maybe some bold predictions for the season, everything in between. We'd love to hear what y'all have to say. And also, if you're on Spotify, make sure to pre-download and stuff like that. Rate 5 stars. Come over to the YouTube, like and subscribe. All that stuff. It helps the podcast out a ton. So you, of course, watching it supports us the most, but doing that stuff helps spread it to other people and just helps us out a lot. So we'd appreciate that. Go ahead.
Quick before we start, I want to do a quick prayer session for the man. Connor played pickup basketball with a man. Was it today?
It was today. It was like 3-4 hours ago.
Did you get his name?
Henry. Henry was his name. Shout out Henry.
Real quick, Connor's gonna tell a story, but can we get a prayers up for Henry in the comments? Yeah. Henry's probably not gonna see this, but if he somehow does, we need to show him the support. This is very tragic. Career-ending injury for my man.
So we were hooping, and it's me and a group of guys that I typically play with out there. Someone texted in the chat like, "Yo, y'all want to hoop today?" We're like, "Sure." We head out there, and we've got 5 of us, but we need kind of one more. This guy comes over, probably like 40-ish years old or so. And he goes, or he's just like, "Can I shoot with y'all?" We're like, "Yeah, sure. Do you want to actually play threes?" He's like, "Sure." So we play game 1, finishes up, and he's like thinking about leaving, but he's like, "Okay, I'm going to play again." And because it was starting to kind of get dark, so we're like, "Let's go ahead and just quickly play again before it gets dark." He's like, "Cool." He comes on the court and we're playing. It's like a few points away from game point. I think my team's up like 13 or like 14-10. We're playing to 16. So it's right there, like right at game point. And he has the ball in his hands. He's on the opposite team from me, and he goes to push off and just falls to the ground, yelling in pain. The poor guy, I'm like, "Oh, was it your ankle?" Because to me, it looked like he twisted his ankle a bit, but again, it was kind of getting dark. And he goes, "Nah, I think it's my Achilles." He said he felt it pop, and he had an Achilles injury previously. So the poor guy, we had to sit with him on the bench and stuff like that, carry him off the court. His wife came over, or his girlfriend or someone came over and was like, "Oh, you okay?" He's like, "It's the Achilles again." And she's like, "Oh my God." But yeah, so shout out to my guy. He said he'd just been coming back from Achilles stuff. So prayers out to Henry.
Career-ending injury, man. He's up for that max.
Bro, he was hooping. He was playing incredibly well. He was bodying off of guys. I was scoring a bunch. He's like, "Let me guard him. Let me guard him." He was going for it. He had the dog mentality. Dang. And the Achilles injury hits right before the season, bro. So shout out to Henry. Hope everything's good with him. So towards the end, he was
there goes my MVP pick.
Henry was moving it a little bit towards the end, and he was like, "I think I actually might be okay," or not okay, but he's like, "It might not be."
I'll get back on the court.
He was never thinking about getting back on the court, but he was like, "It might not be fully messed up again. Maybe I just tweaked something." So hopefully everything's okay with him. If I see him again at the court sometime
soon. Did y'all get
soon,
his number or something?
No, we didn't get his number or
Dang,
anything
man.
like
Hopefully
that.
I'll run into him again. I need the update.
I hope so. So shout out to our guy Henry. Hopefully everything's good with him. He was able to walk off with his wife like under his own power, so that's a good sign at the very least.
Did he take his free throws like Clay?
No, he did not. He did not take his free throws, unfortunately. But yeah, shout out to my guy. But yeah, with that being said, that tale of triumph. We're gonna head over now to the. Oh, I completely went to the wrong layout. Here we are. Nope, wrong one again. Big one is this one. Nope, that's also the wrong one.
That's just you, bro.
Okay, it's this custom one I made over on the side. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. It only took me like 4 tries. This is enjoypredictions.com. It's a site you can go ahead and use to make standings predictions if you want to do so. I guess, yeah, slight plug for my employer, Enjoy Basketball. Shout out to them. You can see my mouse and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going to do East first, then head over to the West because the West is a bit more controversial. It's a bit closer. So let's go ahead and talk about the East first. We'll start from the bottom, go up towards the top, or maybe we can jump around a bit, like where's most interesting. Like I said, I've got my standings, Ryan is his, but we have to work together on this as a unit. So we have to come up with one consensus thing as brothers. So starting at the bottom, Ryan, who's your 15 seed in the East?
I feel like this is super cliche, but I have the Wizards.
I also have the Wizards. They're going to be fun, like a fun, bad team.
Poole might have 30 a game.
Yeah, he had a crazy like 40-point game where he was super efficient. He had a couple of games where he shot like 1 for 15. It's going to be fun over there in Washington. They don't have a lot of established talent, but some young guys like Bilal Coulibaly's looked ridiculous defensively in preseason. Yeah, Denny just got extended. Corey Kispert is an interesting like third year player.
Enjoy Basketball legend.
Enjoy Basketball legend. Yeah, the first guy I interviewed through Enjoy Basketball. Shout out to him. But yeah, I think like they're going to be bad. This isn't going to be a good team. And also, it feels like to me, out of a lot of teams in the East, like most of these teams we're going to talk about want to be better. I think the only team in the East that really wants to be bad at this point are the Wizards. So I could see the end of the season, even if they're a little bit higher, they just bottom out.
Yeah, I agree.
Not a lot to say about the Wizards, but next up at 14, who's your 14 seed in the East?
I have Charlotte.
I have Charlotte. I've gone back and forth between Charlotte at 14 and 13. I'm going to put
the other team you're between.
The Pistons. The Pistons are the other team.
I also have them. I think. See, here's the thing. I think the Hornets have the better high-end talent. Like, I think Cade might. You can argue maybe Cade's the best player between the two teams, but I think between like LaMelo, Rozier, the Criminal, Hayward, I think the Hornets probably have the more established talent.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and Detroit
can't be but forever. You know what I mean? They gotta.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they won 17 games last year, so they could improve by 13 wins and with 30 and still be one of the bottom teams in the East. Like they could. I think even if they end up in this spot, like so you had the Hornets at 14, right?
I do, but now that we're talking about it, I almost want to switch it.
It's tough. I mean, the Hornets were pretty solid. Actually, they were one of the best defenses in the league in the second half of last season. So I could see that carrying over to help them out a little bit. LaMelo is going to be healthy. I like some of their talent. It's kind of a mess over there. They've got like no depth. Detroit has a bunch of potential, but it's not established. I don't know. To me, these two teams are interchangeable. I'm good to put Detroit at 13 if you want to put Charlotte at 14.
I kind of want to put Detroit at 14 just because I think the Hornets have a little bit more upside.
Okay, I'm down for that. I could also see Charlotte
very interchangeable though, I think.
Yeah, and this is the hard part about it because both conferences are incredibly deep. Like again, Detroit won 17 games last year, which is not much. They could win.
Did they finish last in the East last year with 17 wins? Was that last?
They finished worse in the NBA, yeah, and fell all the way to the.
I just feel like even like the Wizards who we're talking about like was a consensus bottom team. There's no way they only win 17 games. They're Jordan Poole and Kuzma are gonna carry them to a couple of weird.
And they've also got like Gafford. They've got Tyus Jones.
Yeah, like they're like established NBA players.
So I think like it sucks because I want to see Detroit take a jump and maybe like Cade blossoms, Ivy blossoms. Asar Thompson's looked great through preseason. They've got Monty Williams over there. Like I could see them taking a jump to maybe become a playing team, but they're just teams that I think are more established above them. I just don't think it's a little too early for Detroit.
I think next year is the year for Detroit.
Hopefully. I think next year could be the year. They've also looked shaky at times in preseason, which is a bit scary because
I haven't watched a lot of Detroit basketball preseason games, but
the Thunder played Detroit twice, so I watched a good amount.
You kind of had to.
I watched a good amount of Pistons. They beat us one of the two times. I think we were up like 18, and then we took everyone out. And Marcus,
who was like their best? Like who showed out for them?
Marcus Sasser. I think he was. Was he taken end of first round or beginning of second round? Either way, Marcus Sasser. Where did he go to school? I'm blanking where he went to school, but interesting point guard that they have there in the backup too. Killian Hayes was also just randomly knocking down threes against us as well. So we'll see what he can do this season.
F-tier and he was getting his revenge on you.
I forgot about that. Bro. I forgot about that. 12. Who's at your 12 spot?
I'm stuck between two teams. What are your thoughts before I tell you what they are?
At 12 in the East, I have the Toronto Raptors.
I also did, but at 11, I have Chicago. And my one reason why I might consider switching them is that I think we're both in consensus Chicago is going to be towards the bottom of the East. Is that?
I have Chicago a bit higher.
Okay. Well, hear me out real quick. I have them low because simply I just think they're going to be either extremely mediocre or just not great. And I think they're going to sell off and go to the basement. Like I really think they're one of those teams that sells DeRozan and or Levine, and then they lose. They like they might be 500 at the trade deadline, and then they trade one of or both of those guys, and then they lose like 20 of 30 games or so. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Toronto because OG Anunoby is an upcoming free agent. Siakam is an upcoming free agent. Mm-hmm. I think Gary Trent Jr. is an upcoming free agent too because he didn't get an extension before the deadline today. Mm-hmm. So they feel like a team to me. If they start disappointing, we could see them bottom out, which is kind of why I had them in this spot.
I mean, I can see that at 12 for the same reason. I was just I figured it was like, because at least with Toronto, I don't know. At least they seem like really like set on keeping like Siakam and Anunoby because I feel like they would be gone by now if they really.
I guess so. I don't. For some reason, I feel more confident that Toronto could sell their pieces than Chicago. For some reason, to me, Chicago just feels unbelievably stubborn that, oh, we get Lonzo back next year, we can make this thing work. But I did see there was a report that DeRozan could be traded by the deadline. Yeah. I don't know. I have Chicago at 9 at the moment. So I had them a bit higher up, but I see what you're saying. I could also see them.
I'm cool putting Toronto at 12 because that's where I originally had them, but I kind of want to talk about who I had at 9 and 10 and why I think they're better than Chicago.
Okay, we can go ahead and talk about these like kind of 9, 10, 11 spots.
So I have Brooklyn at 9, Orlando at 10, Chicago at 11.
Okay, so we have the same 3 teams. I have Magic at 11, Brooklyn at 10, and Chicago at 9 at the moment.
I can get behind that. Wait, where'd you said Brooklyn at 9 or at 10?
Brooklyn at 10. Bulls, Brooklyn, Magic.
I just think Brooklyn's not going to sell off anybody, and I just think like I don't know. Not that I believe in Ben Simmons, but I feel like between like Bridges, Simmons, Cam Johnson, I just feel like and they just have so many good role players on that team. Like I feel like they're going to be the most mediocre team in the NBA. Like not really good, but not there's no way they're going to be really bad. Like they have a very low floor, in my opinion. Like their ceiling
problem is
not great, but
the offense is going to be ugly. Like the defense, I think will be pretty solid, but offensively, we still don't know how Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton are going to look.
Yeah,
Mikal Bridges was great as a one-off last year. Like he had amazing numbers, but the team didn't win a lot with that happening, which I don't think is Mikal's fault at all. I just don't know if they have the supporting pieces. Free Cam Thomas, let him actually.
No, I actually think I think they're going to let Cam Thomas just extend the clip this year. Like I think they're aware that their offense is like their weak point.
They need someone,
and and Cam Thomas just has like that like unlimited. He has that Jordan Moore green light. We talk about. Connor, I have this inside joke that whenever Jordan Moore gets the ball, he just shoots it. So,
shout out to him, Pacers legend.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. So you said you have Chicago here.
I have Chicago, Orlando, Brooklyn. Like I'm not like crying about any of them, but I at least in my opinion, I think Brooklyn's the best of the 3.
I could see that. So
I just think, like I said, I just think their ceiling, like you said, because of the offensive limitations, I think their ceiling is like extremely low. But I think they have the highest floor of any of these teams because I don't see them trading off any of their good pieces. They might trade off some of these like role players, like a Dorian or a O'Neal, if they get like really good offers from like some of these contending teams. But like their core, like Toronto, Toronto, and Chicago, I see could, like we were talking about, trading off some pieces and floundering out. And I just think Orlando, like they'll be better, but I don't know.
So you have Orlando at 10?
I have Orlando at 10, yeah.
Okay. How would you feel about Orlando 11, Bulls 10, Nets 9?
I can get behind it.
Okay.
But would not be shocked if the Bulls fell a lot lower because I really think they're going to end up bottoming out.
For me, it's like Chicago still has Levine and DeRozan and Vucevic. Like they've got much more high-end
I
talent.
agree.
I like their offseason. I do understand what you're saying though about potentially them blowing this thing up throughout the season. It's definitely possible.
I mean, you also think Kobe White sucks. I mean,
I don't think you no, you just love Kobe White. For Orlando, when I was making my predictions, I really wanted to put them in the play-in. I just think it's like a year too early for them at this point because, like, if the Bulls blow it up like throughout the season or something like that, then I think that spot opens wide open for Orlando to
I
potentially
agree.
jump up there. Paolo could be really good. Franz has crazy potential. The guard rotation is just kind of messy. They still can't really shoot. They were great defensively in the second half of last year, but we need to see how it looks over the full season. So I don't know. It's just, and also like Markelle Fultz feels like he misses like 30 games every season, which is concerning. Jalen Suggs has missed a lot of time. So it just feels like there's a lot of moving pieces for the Magic right now. They're still trying to figure things out. I just don't know if they're ready to pass some of these other teams in the East at the moment. I did say in my predictions video, if you told me Orlando was like a 7 or an 8 seed, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I think they've got that potential to jump, but I feel safer in saying that they just barely miss out this year and that they're right there on the fringe.
I think the thing with the Magic too is they need it because obviously Palos their one. Like I don't think that's a debate. And you could say Franz is their 2, but I just think they need to have someone come out and to be that number 2 up. You know what I mean? Like they need their Tatum and Brown because I feel like they got Paolo and Franz is a really solid player. I just think we need him. We need his ceiling to increase, or somebody else has to step up to be that like second fiddle. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think Franz can do it, and they could be a great duo this year. Like, if you told me Franz was in All-Star considerations, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I might be surprised because I think Paolo would get that primarily, and that would mean they would have to be good enough to get 2 All-Stars.
What did Franz average last year? Like 17 a game?
18, I think.
I just think they need someone to elevate to like that 20, 21 point per game.
To me, I think it's more so about that third guy. Franz put up 18.6.
Okay.
18.6, 49%. Yeah, that's my real concern because, like, I think Paolo and Franz is a great 1-2, and they can be their 1-2 for the future.
Any one of those guards to come and be that 3 guy.
That's my thing for me is who fits that guard rotation because Fultz can't really shoot, but is a really solid defender and a great finisher, good playmaker. He kind of makes sense.
It's almost like they need like that shooting guard archetype. Like, not saying they need to get like Devin Booker or Bradley Beal, but it's almost like they kind of need that like type of like that bucket getting 2 next to those guys. I don't know.
Like Gary Harris is a knockdown shooter. He helps them a lot, but he's not this top option anymore. They just gave Cole Anthony an extension, so maybe he's going to stay. Or that
which is crazy because both of us thought he was gone.
Yeah, I feel like because someone's got to be gone at some point. When you have Fultz, you have Suggs, you have Anthony Black, who you just
I don't even see where he fits in their rotation.
It's weird. I guess he'll play like one of the backup guard spots. Like
I don't even know if he's going to be in the rotation though, man. Like he might get like 5 to 10 minutes a game, but I mean, when you have Fultz, Suggs, Anthony, Harris.
That's the weird part to me. They've got to figure out how that guard rotation works. Yeah. I don't know how it's going to look. So, yeah, I'm cool with that. I guess we can go ahead and just keep on moving up.
Who do you have at 8?
At 8, I have the Pacers at this spot.
Who's your 7?
The Heat.
Okay, then you are a lot higher on a team than I have at the 8.
Who do you have at the 8?
I have Atlanta.
Okay. I'm not that much higher. I have Atlanta at 6.
Yeah. Well, I think we have the same 3 teams at 6, 7, 8. I have Atlanta 8, Indiana 7, Miami 6. But there is a part of me that could put Miami in that 8 spot.
All right, I'll put Indiana there at 7. I think because we agree on that. We can figure out the other 2. Miami's weird for me because I feel like they're going to, like last year, they were uncharacteristically bad at shooting the ball in the regular season. I think they're going to be a bit better. I don't think they got that much better in the in the off season. I don't think they got terribly worse.
I mean, so that you lose Vincent and Strus,
you pick up Richardson, Jaquez, Thomas Bryant, who's
you cannot convince me. If the Sixers had an offseason and they got Josh Richardson, that Daryl Morey's head would be chopped off by.
Well, the thing is, Eric Spoelstra is a wizard who just makes players really good. I mean Richardson was
an all-star this year, so I mean they'll probably be fine.
Haywood Highsmith will be like the next
he's out for the next couple weeks though, man.
It's fine. They don't need him until the playoffs when he's dropping like 6 threes a game on the Celtics heads or something.
Defending Jason Tatum.
Exactly. Locking up Jason Tatum, hitting like 15 points per game. Yeah. I mean, you're the one saying that he got worse. So why do you think they're going to jump up to the 6th seed?
I'm just not high on Atlanta either. And Miami just seems to always figure it out.
For me, Atlanta looked a lot better under Quinn Snyder in the second half of the season. I think you've got potential for jumps from AJ Griffin out there. Jalen Johnson's looked good. You still have DeAndre Hunter if he can actually stay on the court. John Collins is gone now, which might be addition by subtraction.
Is gone.
Onyeka Okongwu, I'm hoping gets a bigger role. He got an extension today. Shout out to him.
What was his contract? I saw he got extended, but I didn't see the contract.
Like 18 a year or something like that, which I think could be really good for him if he breaks out the way that I believe he can. Man.
Like, I understand how salary cap's working and how players are getting paid more, but it just kind of blows my mind for teams paying guys like upwards of $20 million a year and they don't even start him. Like, I'm sure he'll take that spot from Capella at some point.
Well, he's not upwards of 20 mil. He's around 20 mil.
And that's what I meant, like, towards 20 million.
I mean, I could see Capella as a potential trade piece at some point throughout this season, maybe even for a team in the West that we'll talk about a little bit later, who got some bad news today. But yeah, so I have Atlanta at 6. I have Miami at 8. So you have Miami at 6 and Atlanta 8, correct?
Yeah, but I'd be fine putting Miami at 8 and Atlanta at 6. I can get behind it.
Let's go ahead and do that. I don't know, man. Miami just also never takes the regular season that seriously, so I don't know what they're going to do. They've got some moving pieces.
I also think if they somehow lost Jimmy or Bam, they would not be able to survive.
If they lose one of them for significant time, I think they drop off a cliff, which is scary.
And not to mention, speaking of cliffs, we don't know what Lowry is going to do.
Yeah, that's true. I thought you were talking about Lowry marketing for a moment. I'm like, what does he have to do with any of this?
What sources do you have?
I was like, what do you like? What kind of?
He would be a really good 4 next to Bam, though.
He would be so good on the Heat.
He'd be really good next to Bam. And
who do you have at 5?
I have the Bing Bong Boys.
I also have the Knicks here. I had to like do mental math to figure out who the hell you were talking about. I also have the Knicks here. I think they could move up a little bit, but at the same time, I still think these 4 teams are the top teams in the East at the moment. I think they're at least in the regular season. We talk about the playoffs. I like that this Knicks team matched up really well with the Cavs, but in terms of like going for it in the regular season, I think these 4 will be the top teams. Philly is weird. Do you have Philly at 4?
I do have Philly at 4.
Okay, I also have Philly at 4.
Which stinks because I really think they could sneak into 2, or like I think if Harden was like a definite, they'd be my 3 pick easily. But I think with they're in a very strange situation right now. Like even without Harden, they'll be a pretty good. Like they're a playoff team if Harden's just sitting around, trying on fat suits. They're still a playoff team in my opinion. Yeah. But in terms of ceiling, it's going to depend on Harden, or if they trade Harden, what they get.
That's the thing. I've seen some people put the Sixers at like 6 or 7, but they've still got Embiid. They've still got Maxey. I'm buying into Nick Nurse being a lot better as a coach.
Benches, at least in my opinion, the bench is the best it's been in a long time.
The bench does feel, I like the Oubre addition. I think if Harden buys in, this Philly team is really good. It's just, will he actually buy in? If he was bought in, I'd have them probably as my 3 seed.
I would too.
But for right now, I think 4 is where I'm probably going to put them. I'm guessing you have Cleveland at 3.
Yeah, I have Cleveland 3, Bucks 2, Boston 1.
I think I might have the Bucks 1. I have the Bucks at 1, but I'm good to put Boston here. I think
Milwaukee might have some growing pains, just because I don't know. I feel like sure adding KP and Drew is like a huge addition to your team, but the Jays are still going to be the focus of the offense. Whereas with Milwaukee, you just added a 30-point per game scorer who is vastly different than any player Giannis has ever played with. And so I could see there being a couple of games where there's some growing pains. And I still like neither Boston or Milwaukee has great depth. But I need to see what Chris Middleton is made of because his last season was very disappointing towards the end.
And that's fair.
Is interesting. Like they picked up a couple okay bench pieces, but we just need to see them actually play. I just like Boston's more well-roundedness than Milwaukee. That's why I think they're both going to win up to 60 games potentially. I just put Boston ahead of them.
Yeah, the continuity, I will agree. Like having a new head coach over there in Milwaukee too is going to be a bit of an adjustment.
Especially with that Terry Stotts thing that came out, there seems to be some little bit of turmoil going on.
That was so weird. It just sounded like Terry Stotts didn't like one interaction. It's like, I'm out of here. There must have been more going on there.
Yeah, there has to be. I think if we're going to get some article mid-season that's just like, I don't know, that like breaks the bank.
Yeah, something crazy actually went on.
Yeah.
But I'm cool with this. Like this, I think this looks good to me. So we've got Boston 1, Milwaukee 2, Cleveland 3, Philly 4, Knicks 5, Hawks 6, Pacers, Heat, Brooklyn, Chicago, Orlando, Toronto, Charlotte, Detroit, and Washington. Yeah. Now, I forgot to mention this earlier, but we also need to predict winners of each conference. So who would be your conference finals matchup in this scenario? I'm guessing you probably have the same one that everyone has.
It's Boston, Milwaukee. I'd be tempted to pick Philly, but I just can't with what's going on.
I know you want to make the biased take. I appreciate that, but Yeah, it's Boston and Milwaukee are the best two teams in the East as it currently stands. If there's any major injuries, maybe a different team sneaks in, but barring that, I would be stunned if these two teams don't face off at some point in the playoffs. Maybe we see something where like
Yeah, maybe someone sneaks to a 3 seed because of injuries, and then it's Boston.
yeah, maybe
Milwaukee
they
in
like
the
say
second
the
round.
Cavs take the regular season really seriously, gun up to like a 1 seed or something.
Giannis gets all that load management.
Yeah, and they like fall to like 2 and 3, then maybe they match up in the second round. But whenever these two teams play, that is the conference finals. Who would you have winning? So if we're like predicting it right now, who's going to win the Eastern Conference?
Honestly, it's still Boston because of what I said. I like they're more well-rounded in this. I feel like if one of their players has an off night, there's so many people that can pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like, I don't know, perimeter defense of Milwaukee still scares me. And I just think Boston's going to be a really good perimeter team. So if Jaylen Brown can learn how to dribble and they make some good depth moves for their bench, I mean, just that closing lineup of White, Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, and Holiday is just disgusting.
It is
Not
disgusting.
to mention you have Drew that's going to be fighting demons playing Milwaukee. I think he's going to be. I think him against Dame is going to be so personal. Like Dame's a really good player and he can probably outdo the matchup, but I think Drew is going to be on one when they play.
He's one of the better defenders to have in that scenario. Yeah. Like
I think they match up really well against Boston.
Yeah, I'm on the Boston train too. I'm picking the Boston Celtics to win. If these two teams match up, I think it would be Boston in 7. You have great backcourt defense between Drew and Derek White, like the best possible defensive, by far the best defensive backcourt in the league going up against Dame. You've got that. Dame is a bit of a weaker defender. It's going to be hard to stop Giannis, but Al Horford has been solid in the past at defending him. He's not going to stop Giannis. Nobody really can, but he can at least, I think, slow him down. Porzingis gives you height.
Giannis can put up 50 a game, and if like Dame gets locked up and Middleton keeps being mid, then they're not going to win.
Yeah, I also like you mentioned
Middleton's a big X factor.
He is. We need to see how he looks. Is he going to bounce back to all-star form or be kind of like he was last year when he was battling injury? You also have like I like the versatility of they can go big with Porzingis and Al Horford out there. You could go smaller with Derek White at the guard spot and put well I say smaller, but you still have Porzingis out there at 7'3" at your center spot, which I think people don't realize how good Porzingis was last year. He had the best season of his career offensively and defensively. He was just playing in Washington
forever.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see him on a good team.
Yeah. So I like the Celtics too to win the Eastern Conference. I think it's really close between these two teams. It could go either way. But for me, I'm going to lean Boston a little bit at the moment. Shout out to Giannis, by the way, signed a 3-year extension. Masterclass of an offseason for Milwaukee. Like, not like there was all these interviews about Giannis being like, I want to be a Buck for life, but very subtly being like, hey, I need y'all to do something to help me out here. They trade for Dame. They get Giannis on a 3-year extension when he could have waited till next offseason to get more money. He's like, nah, I'm going to sign now. So shout out to the Bucks for getting that done.
In the bag, bro.
Yeah. All right. Let's do the West. This is where things get
real quick.
A lot trickier in the Western Conference.
Absolutely. I think
we were pretty close in the East. We had like
I feel like most of the time we had like the same 2 or 3 teams.
Yeah.
For a lot of spots. All right, you ready?
Yeah, sorry, I got a notification real quick that never mind. I got a notification that the Astros just hit a home run. Oh, never mind. It was saying that the Rangers hit one and the Astros woke up the bear. I was like, are the Astros making a comeback? They're down 11-3. There was no comeback.
No comeback.
Okay. Let's start down at the bottom at 15. Who is your 15 seed in the Western Conference?
Okay. So I'm between 2. I have San Antonio and Utah as my bottom 2, but with how Wemby's been playing, I just feel like they have the better player of the 2, but I don't know, man. What do you think?
I think the Blazers are 15.
Dude, you are a hater.
I am not. Ryan told me before the podcast, or I don't know if you remember he said it on here, but he said he's got a hot take about the Blazers. I don't see it. This Blazers team has talent, but again, when we talk about this conference, there is one team that I think has incentive to be bad, and that's the Blazers. They're the only team that's going to really care.
All right, you
San Antonio's got Wemby
they gave
now.
Jeremy Grant a max contract.
That when Dame was still in town, I think he could be traded at some point. Maybe not this season, but in the offseason. Someone will. Chris Paul was involved in a trade for Bradley Beal. Like
the Hornets
random stuff
for
happens.
Rozier and Hayward.
I could actually kind of see something like that. But like they're really fun. But they were bad last year with Dame playing. They were what were they?
I think they were 10 or 11
12,
seed
13 seed. Where
And
they
then Dame
finished?
stopped playing and they fell off a cliff.
Yeah, and like if any team's going to bottom out to me in this Western Conference, they were the 13th seed last year and had Damian Lillard. Like, I think this team's going to be towards the bottom of the Western Conference. I had them and the Spurs. Them and the Spurs were my bottom two teams.
So what's your reasoning on Utah? Because I feel like they way overachieved last year and still kind of ended up fizzling.
I do think they overachieved. I think they looked a lot worse when they traded away Mike Conley. He was big for them, but Lowry's still like out of these teams. I mean, Wemby could very well be that in his first season, but there's one established all-star in these like three teams. And it's Lauri Markkanen. Walker Kessler's a great rim protector. John Collins wasn't good last year, but a new environment. We'll see what happens.
I mean,
I like Will Hardy as a coach too.
Automatic 10 less wins.
I like Will Hardy as a coach. The guard spot is interesting. I'm also high on Keontae George. I think he could be great for them this year. I think they've got more established talent at this point.
I mean, I would argue they have a huge reason to lose too. Because if they get a generational prospect in the draft, then there's because they don't really have that. Like Lauri's cool. Like George is cool, but they don't really, and Kessler's a good player, but the difference is San Antonio and Portland have the guy. Like they got a Scoot and Wemby. Utah doesn't have a guy. And I just think
I guess so, but I mean, at the same time, like I don't see them bottoming out like some of these other teams. To me, say they're having like a decent enough season, like Keontae's playing well, they'll probably be cool just hovering around like a 12 or 13 seed if they're around that range. And the fact that they were up above like they were a little bit higher up in the standings last year. I also think Houston could be in this conversation too for this 13 spot. I went back and forth.
I think I have them at 12.
I have the Rockets at I think I have the Rockets at 13. The Jazz
I actually do
12,
have them at 13. That's because I had Portland at 10.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This man is absurd on the Portland takes.
Well, just the thing is, I think Scoot's gonna be really good. Simons is good offensively. I think Ayton and Grant is better than people get credit for. And Shaedon Sharpe was a freaking menace when he got minutes. I think they have the most upside as a team. Clearly not like Wemby's better than anyone on that team. Utah doesn't have anyone better than most of those guys. I mean, Lauri, yeah, but I mean, as a unit, I just think the Blazers are the most upside out of those teams.
I don't know, man.
I can see what you're saying about the floor, but I just think between Sharpe, Simons,
I did not expect us to be this far apart on the Blazers. I was not expecting that.
Like, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but I would at least push them to be 11 or 12. I think they're going to be like, we can put them at the bottom, but I just want it to be known that I think they're going to be better than that. And I still think Utah's the worst.
See, this is the problem with the Western Conference. There are like no actual bad teams, if you ask me. I don't think there's a single team.
I still think Utah's bad.
I don't think Utah went, I think 37-45 last year.
They way overachieved. And then, like you said, when they got rid of Mike Conley,
but then
they don't have they have a rookie point guard. Jordan Clarkson just shoots the ball. Lauri's going to probably digress.
I swore you used to be a Jordan Clarkson believer.
I mean, I was until they didn't trade him to Philly.
Oh, that makes sense. That's about right up your alley. I don't know, man. I guess I see a little bit of what you're saying, but at the same time, like they made things happen last year, and I do think they'll drop. I just don't know if it's going to be that crazy.
Can we at least put Portland like not last? Because I really don't think they're going to be last.
We can put Portland at 14 if it makes you happy.
Who do you like better than the Spurs? I think Spurs.
Well, here's the problem. I think in my video, I had the Spurs at 15 or 14. I had them like one of those two spots and then Portland the other one. Wemby's been unbelievable. I just don't know if I can believe that.
That's why the Jazz are going to be the worst and the Spurs can be at Portland.
Oh, my God. No, because man, I did not expect. This is more difficult than I was anticipating. But I don't know, man. It just feels weird. Like I guess the Spurs would be 15 then. I just don't think the Jazz are going to be that bad.
The Blazers. See, here's my thing. The Blazers and the Spurs have their top 3 and 4 blows the Jazz's out the wall. Like, it's not even close. Like, Keldon Johnson, Wemby, Vassell, and whoever the heck you want to say their 4th best player is. You can make an argument for a couple people, I feel like. Who would you say?
4th best player at this point? It's going to depend on progression.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, Jeremy Sohan's up there. Zach Collins is up there too.
And then you have the 4 best players in the Jazz, like Lauri, Collins, Kessler, and Clarkson. Like, dude, the Spurs are so much better than that. And the same with the Blazers.
I don't know, man. Will Hardy's also just a really good coach.
Yeah.
Like, to me, Portland just doesn't have incentive to do good this year. I don't think that.
Why
I
would
think
Utah want to be good? Like I said, they don't have a guy.
because they got kind of close last year to making the play, and like they fell apart towards the end of the year.
Good for them.
Well, I'm saying I think that's going to, and they have an all-star caliber guy right now. The Blazers are still trying to figure this thing out. I didn't realize you were this much of a Utah hater.
I'm not a hater, bro. It's just when you look at the roster up and down, I just don't think it like it's like you were saying. There's no team. I'm not arguing that Utah's bad. They're just worse than everybody else, in my opinion. I just think they're not top heavy at all. They have a lot of questions, could Colin Sexton be good? Could Collins be good? We've seen Laurie be good for 1 year. Maybe George is cool. He had a good summer league. You know what I mean? It's just so many question marks, and I don't know.
So you want to put the Jazz at 15?
I do.
I'll let it stay there for now, but I might change that. We're gonna have to come back.
I think Portland's still gonna be higher than 14. I'm letting you have that one.
I have Utah up at least here at 13, or maybe even 12.
I think the Spurs are gonna be, but I think Wemby's too nice.
Let's put the Spurs here at 13.
Assuming Wemby doesn't have a Zion injury, I think
Wemby's ridiculous.
If somehow Wemby gets hurt, then I have Spurs at 15. But
he's gonna be a game changer. I could see them dropping a couple spots because I mean, if they get Wemby like another top pick, it could be unbelievable. Maybe he deals with injury throughout the season, but when Wemby's healthy, I could see him being a first-year All-Star type guy.
I also want everyone's opinions to see, because I could be completely wrong. Connor could just be completely wrong. I'm very curious to see what you guys. Not either of us are wrong. They're predictions. Like, we won't know until the season actually happens. But
almost all this is going to be wrong.
Yeah. So comment below. What do you got? I love how we're arguing about the 3 worst.
Bro,
teams.
we haven't even gotten to the top. Like, in my opinion, there are clearly 11 teams that are like the top 11. We haven't even gotten there yet. We're arguing about the bottom 4 teams in the West. It's that.
So can we agree that we got Houston at 12?
Yes.
Okay.
Houston at 12 is a good spot. I've seen people talk about them making the play.
I get hot take.
I can't wait to see what this is. But Houston, they've had some moments in the preseason. They've looked good. I just think they're young. They're not really as experienced as a number of these other teams. They don't have as much established talent. It's a lot of who's going to take that jump. So we'll see. But all right, number 11, because these 11 teams feel like they're pretty clearly the best 11 in the conference. Maybe something could change depending on injuries. Who do you have at 11?
Something did change because of an injury, and in my 11th seed, I'm having Memphis.
Ryan has Memphis here at 11. In case y'all didn't see, Steven Adams is out for the season.
I will say, I might be being a hater again, but when I made these last Thursday. Shout out my boy Matt. We were at B-Dubs watching Thursday Night Football, and he was helping me make some predictions. We were talking about it. I also had Memphis at 11 before the Adams injury.
Ryan's been a Memphis hater.
Here's my thing on Memphis. First of all, the Adams injury is awful. They his screening and his pick and roll game with their guards,
especially in the half court offense.
Game changer.
You saw their half court offense was bad in the playoff. Like, it was awful without Steven Adams. They need him. He averaged over 3 offensive boards per game, which is huge. And not only are they missing him, Brandon Clark probably won't play most of this season, if at all. So their center rotation, I was looking at this before because I was like, okay, what's it going to look like? It's Xavier Tillman's going to start there, and he's fine. He started for them in the playoffs.
He's a good backup, but
he is a good backup.
Or he'd be a good starter if you're 4 around him, or like the the Warriors type of starting 4. If you had like 4 generational type players and Tillman was your 5, you can live with it.
But like, Tillman's 6'8", he's not going to give them that type of play. Beyond him at like actual center, the backup center is going to be Jaren Jackson, and he fouls a lot. You don't want him to
much better.
You don't want him to be your starting 5 full time. He's way better as a 4.
It's gonna be a hackathon.
Santi Aldama could play backup center, I guess, but he's more of a forward. He's 6'11", but he's kind of thin framed. Like, to me, it feels like they have to make a trade. This is like, I don't think people realize how bad that the Steven Adams injury is for Memphis. I had them, considering the John Morant stuff and the fact that they're already kind of weak at the wing position specifically. Like, we don't know who's going to start for them at the wing. Right now, it's looking like Zaire Williams, who's looked good in preseason, but through his first couple seasons in the NBA has not been very reliable. Nope. So that wing depth is a problem. Now center depth is a problem. Like, it feels like they're falling apart. So
Derrick Rose, your starting point guard.
Well, Marcus Smart.
I guess so. They might have to slide him to the 2 though if they move Jaren to the 5. It depends what they do with their lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they start Jaren at the 5, I don't know what it looks like.
It'd probably be what, Bane, Aldama.
It would probably be Ja.
11 seed.
That's the problem. Is it feels like they've fallen apart, like out of nowhere. It's just with this injury they're stacking up.
That I was talking about once again. Shout out Matt again. is the Grizzlies. I think the reason why they were so good even before like their top end talent took off is they were always super deep. Like it felt like they were like 10 or 11 deep, like every single time. But they've just been slowly kind of like waning off players. Like Melton's gone, Dylan Brooks is gone. It just feels like their roster went from.
Now.
What'd you say?
Tyus Jones is gone now.
Tyus Jones, yep, that's the other guy I was missing. It just feels like their roster went from like 11 to 12 deep. It's just been like slowly shrinking. Like, I don't know, maybe like them dealing off their like rotation players for assets is coming back to bite them. But
it's tough because it feels like they picked Zaire Williams, I think 10th overall, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
he hasn't really come along yet. They
like
need
David Roddy's cool, Zaire's cool. Like it just there's not a lot
of
like
they need guys to produce. Like they have to get good play from their young guys this year, or it's going to be really rough. And now you lose Steven Adams, no Brandon Clark. Marcus Smart's got to get acclimated to this team, and even you were already facing maybe some size issues on this team because when Ja came back, we didn't know who was going to start at the 3. If it was going to be a starting lineup of Ja, Smart, and Bane at the 1, 2, 3, and Bane is smaller.
And that's even worse considering that Adams is gone. Like you might be able to get away with that if you had Adams at the 5.
Exactly, but now you don't have that size. I'll just say that I have the Grizzlies at 10 following this news and just everything stacking up. I think I had them at 8 beforehand.
So who's your 11? 7. I wonder if your 11 is my 10.
My 11 are the Pelicans.
Wow, that is not what I was a lot higher on them actually.
And this is where it hurts because, well, I mean,
I had them like top 6.
This hurts because I've been a big believer in the Pelicans. Last year, they were a 1-seeded team for a little bit when they were healthy. But with how good the West is now and the fact that I cannot trust them to be healthy, I have them dropping out. They missed the playoffs last year. I think they could miss again this year. I don't know. Like Trey Murphy's already going to miss the beginning of the season. I know Alvarado dealt with an injury. I don't know if it's going to keep him out to begin the year, but it's concerning.
Because Jose Alvarado's out. We got something to talk about. No, I'm just kidding. No, I see what you mean.
Because I just can't trust their guys to be on the court. Like when healthy, I think this team is really, really fun. But if they're not healthy, because to me, that's really what a lot of this West is going to come down to is who's healthy. I mean, with the Grizzlies, part of me is now considering putting the Grizzlies here at 11 because of this injury, because this is huge. Like their depth is completely ruined at this point. So I'm considering moving them down here a couple of spots because I think they're going to be bad. When Ja Morant's missing for those first 25 games, they're not going to be very good.
I think they may be worse than some of these other teams that we have. Like
they could go 500 over that stretch, but because the West is so deep, that might not be good enough for them. Like you can't, I don't know if you can go like say they go like 12 and 13, like one game under 500 or something like that. I don't know if you can recover from that with some of these other teams in the West, depending on health. So I'm trying to decide now if I want to put the Grizzlies at 11 and the.
And I hear who your 9 is, so I can make an argument why the Pels should be higher.
My 9 is the Mavericks.
Ooh, who did I have at 9?
I have the Mavericks at 9.
I had Minnesota.
I have Minnesota at 8. Like these are kind of the teams.
All right, so give me your 8, 9, 10, 11.
8 is Minnesota, 9 are the Mavericks, and then 10, 11 right now I'm going back and forth between the Grizzlies and the Pels.
Okay, so there's one team that I have in this group of 4 that we have not mentioned.
I think I know who it is. Who is it?
And it rhymes with the Pings.
The King. I have the Kings a little bit. I have the Kings kind of on that.
I think
a little bit higher up.
Closer to a bottom 4 playoff team, like 7, 8, 9, 10, than they are to the top 6.
I am also anticipating regression from the Kings, which sucks because I don't have a good reason for feeling like that. To me, it just feels like everything kind of went their way last season. And the West feels like it's going to be a lot better. The fact that their defense still feels really shaky, it was good enough to hold up with a ridiculous offense last year. Mm-hmm. But if the offense slips even a little bit, I worry a lot about.
Didn't they also have no injuries? Like, wasn't there a stat where they had the least amount of injuries?
They were really healthy. Like Sabonis was dealing with a messed up thumb. I know De'Aaron Fox wasn't super healthy, but in terms of games played, they were amongst the top. And I'm not expecting the Kings to just come out and get injured this year. But I do think we might see more health across a number of these other teams where last year the Suns were dealing with major injuries throughout the year, the Thunder without Chet the whole season. You had the Lakers missing guys for parts of the year. The Clippers are always injured, so that's kind of weird. Wiggins missed a lot of year for the Warriors. Steph missed a little bit of time. The Pelicans dealt with injuries. Cat missed like the whole year. Like all these teams had some type of major injury but the Kings. And if a lot of these teams stay healthy and get better, I still think the Kings are going to be good. Like, again, I don't think any team in this top 11 is bad. It's just who's going to be healthy.
Yep, I agree. And who's better? Who's just going to be better?
So, I mean, with that being said, with the health thing, I think I'm okay with putting the Grizzlies at 11. That feels really bad. Like, I hate this. But
no, it checks out.
I don't know. So, for me, that would move the Pelicans up to 10. Where do you have the Pelicans? Or do we? You have them at 7? You said.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think that's bad. It's just it is again a matter of health. So I'll say my 7, 8, 9, 10 are the Kings, Timberwolves, Mavericks, Pelicans. Those are like the 4 teams.
I also have Portland in my 10, so that doesn't help. You heard it here first that Portland goes crazy. I'm just saying that now.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure they will, Ryan. I'm sure they will. So do you have the Kings at 7, you said?
8.
You have 8. So who's your 7? Oh, the Pelicans. Duh.
7 I had OKC.
You had 7 at OKC? Where were the Pelicans again? I thought you said you had them at 7.
I had them at 6.
Oh, I had them at 6? I have OKC at 6. That's where I have us.
I can get behind that. Let's put them there. I can get behind it. Wait, how do we do our top 3? I think we might be.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Who's your number 1 seed?
I have the Lakers.
You have the Lakers. I have the Denver Nuggets at the number 1 spot. I have the Nuggets, Suns, Lakers. 1, 2, 3.
I think I have the exact opposite order.
Well, then we can agree that the Suns at 2, I guess.
Yeah, let's do that. Suns at 2. I'm with it.
Okay.
So hear me out. I have the Clippers at 3 because I think they're going to get
so you have the Nuggets at 4?
I do.
I can't get behind that. I can't get behind that.
So I could put the Nuggets at 3 and put the Clipper, or I could, but I think the Clippers are going to pull off the Jim trade, and I think that team of Harden, George, and Kawhi is going to be outstanding.
Tell you what, because we're debating these other teams, let's move the Suns up to 1 because we both have them at 2. I think I have the Nuggets at 1. You have them at 4, so we're a bit split on them. I think we can agree the Suns are going to be good.
My one thing with the Nuggets, I'm still kind of frazzled about their depth.
It's rough.
I think they're one injury away from being ultra screwed.
To me, I don't know. I don't care that much. Like, they have Jokic. I'm not super worried. They've got Jokic. They've got Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. I went back and forth between the Suns at 1 and the Nuggets at 2, but to me, the lowest the Nuggets go is 2 or 3. I don't see them dropping any lower than that. When you've got Jokic.
Hear me out. Can we do Lakers 2 and between 2 and 3, Lakers and Denver, and then can we agree on Clippers 4?
I think that's where I have I have the Clippers at 5, but
so who's your 4?
Warriors. I have the Warriors at 4. Just because, again, with the injuries thing, with the Clippers, with the Paul George and Kawhi missing time, it worries me a little bit.
I think the Warriors are going to get too fancy with Chris Paul stuff. They're going to have some interesting.
I do worry about the Warriors' depth. I will say it's rough if they do.
Not that Clay and Draymond are washed by any means, but I do think they're not quite as high end as they were. And there's a lot of injury concerns, I feel like, for their kind of entire roster.
God, we were all over the place with this one. Okay, let's figure out the top 3 first. So how do you feel about Phoenix?
I can do Phoenix, Denver, LA.
Okay, let's do that. I think these are the 3 best teams in the West right now.
I think at least we have the same teams pretty much.
Yeah, I think these are the 3 best teams at the moment. My thing with
the Clippers is as is. I don't think the Clippers are better than Denver, but that was assuming they get Harden.
I'm going to put the Clippers here if you want to do that. I'm good with the Clippers at 4.
And I could get behind Golden State at the 5 as well.
Okay. We figured that out. Okay, so let's go through this. The Suns, they've got this ridiculous big 3 of Booker, Beal, and Kevin Durant. I worry about injuries, but I think they filled out the depth pretty nicely. It's not
as long as they're healthy, I think they're going to be really good.
They're going to be ridiculous when fully healthy. The defense is definitely a bit of a concern, but Booker is a solid defender. Beal isn't good, but he can hold his own at times. Cool. And also, Frank Vogel is a good defensive coach, so I trust him to at least get them to kind of buy in on that end. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We'll see if it actually holds up, but I think it's going to be at the very least good enough to get them up here towards the top of the West.
I agree.
Denver is the reigning champions. They've got Jokic. They've got all these guys. They might not take the regular season super seriously, so I could see them falling down. Mm-hmm. But the Lakers, like what LeBron and AD are kind of made of glass at this point, so I feel like they're going to fall down a little bit. Same thing with the Clippers, but I do think they felt a lot better after more time with Russ last year. Mm-hmm. They've been saying they're going to take this season, the regular season, seriously.
Yeah, because everyone's giving them slander about the
load management thing. Because there's that new rule, if y'all didn't know, that you like can't load manage a certain amount or something like that. There's like 1 or 2 stars has to play it. Some type of regulation.
That is a crazy rule that is either going to get super exploited or there's going to be some crazy controversy. I think there's
yeah. Also, the James Harden thing is also looming for the Clippers. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Harden plays the whole season as a Sixer. That's my bold take.
He might be on the roster, whether he plays.
I think he will be a Sixer the full year, is what I'm going.
I hope so. That's the Sixers' best shot, unless some other team takes the bait. But
yeah, so I'm cool with this. And now for my Thunder, when I made my predictions video, this is where I had us. I had us at 6. People did not like that. People were saying I was biased, which yes, but also that I was crazy.
No, I just think.
But we're going to
you have a solid all-around team. That's what
we do. Like I think our starting lineup is incredibly versatile. Shea is one of the best players in the world.
He's like defense last year, and you're adding a really good defensive. You haven't had a fucking center. I'm sorry, I just said F-bomb on freaking YouTube, but it's far enough in. We won't get demonetized. Not that
it's fine. It like kind of didn't really sound fully like I couldn't tell. For a second, I thought you said sucking center, and I was like, what are you talking about?
But just the Thunder have never had a center since Steven Adams left. You've literally
Chet might be from like day one if he's as good as I think he could be. Chet might be the best center we've ever had as a franchise.
Which is crazy sentence.
Yeah,
but it's true.
When you're running the potential,
you're running the fake J-Dub and Mike Muscala.
Shout out my guy Jay Will. Shout out Jay Will.
I think he's a solid backup or like tall stretch 4.
Yeah, I think he's great as our backup.
And like nothing against like J.R.E. and these other guys y'all have been running out in the center, but it's about time that you guys have a legit big man. It's crazy.
It is.
Like,
and he looked amazing in preseason. I think
Connor knows how
like per game.
Not salty I've been, but I'm just like, why do the Thunder never employ centers? So I finally got a guy that's 7 feet tall. It's glorious.
I think he's going to be amazing this year. Shea's an all-NBA guy. Giddey, J-Dub, feel poised for jumps. Jalen Williams in particular. I know Ryan's also really high on Jalen Williams.
He's awesome.
I'll give credit to Ryan. Like, first preseason game, we're watching him, and Ryan just looks over me and goes, this guy's going to be an all-star one day. And it feels like it could be within the next few seasons. Like, it feels like he's close.
No, I agree.
So I just believe in us. Like you said, I mean, we're the 13th ranked defense in the league last season without a true center out there. And now we've got Chet, who's one of the best defensive prospects that has come out of the draft in the past few years. Shea leveled up amazingly in defense last year. Lou's out there. Jada looks like a solid defender. Casey Wallace comes in as a good defender as a guard. We've got Vasilij Micic coming over as a EuroLeague MVP. The scoring was a bit shaky at times in the preseason, but the playmaking is absolutely ridiculous. I think he's going to be huge for that second unit. This is all to say that I'm biased, but I think the Thunder are good. Also, Davis Bertans was knocking down threes out there.
I'm dead. Y'all bringing Davis Bertans back from the grave. Like,
bro,
he's looked good. When the guy comes out of the coffin and he like reaches his arm up. That's about to be
the Undertaker gif.
Y'all about to get a first-round pick for Bertans. That's crazy.
Hey, bro. We rehabilitated Chris Paul. We did it with Al Horford, George Hill. Maybe it's Davis Bertans next. But yeah, I'm of the belief that we are going to be a top 6 team in the West this season.
I can see y'all fall to 7 or 8. But
I can see it too.
I don't think you fall out of the top 8, at least in my opinion. I think
the conference is loaded, but I believe that if we stay healthy, we will be one of these top 6 teams.
I agree.
Someone's going to fall out. Some team's not going to make the playoffs. I don't think it's us.
Yep.
Am I biased? Yes, but we're going to go with it. Okay, so now we've got to go ahead and do these play-in teams.
Can I propose an order?
Yes.
Can I get your rationale? You had Dallas at 9, right?
I did have Dallas at 9.
Can I get your rationale on that before I say something?
I don't know, man. Like, the offseason, I feel like they made some decent moves, but right now they're top 3 players. It's Luka, it's Kyrie, it's like Grant Williams, maybe, as their third best player. Josh Green, maybe, if he has a breakout season, which he also got an extension today. Shout out to him. I don't know, man. I just don't know who that third guy is for them. There's a lot of unreliable pieces surrounding them. A lot of
Hardy, baby.
Could Jaden Hardy take a jump? Could Derek Lively be ready to start from day one? There's rumors that they might start him and Olivier Maxence Prosper, 2 rookies in their starting lineup from day one. And as a team that's trying to compete with this loaded West, I worry about that. Plus, if Luka misses like 15 games, they're going to be awful in that time. If Luka has like 1 ankle injury, they're done. Like, they're going to fall down the standings rapidly.
It hurts, man, because like literally Luka is, Luka's one of my top favorite players in the league. Mm-hmm. And it just sucks, man. I just want him to win so bad.
Me too. I want to see Luka on like a good team again, because it feels like it's a matter of time for him to win an MVP whenever he actually gets help. And Kyrie is the best player he's ever played with, but I think the supporting cast is really questionable. I think if all these pieces that they added hit,
need DFS back.
Yeah, if these pieces that they added hit, if like Green takes a jump, if Hardy looks good, I think they could be one of these top 6 teams for sure. But there's just a lot of question marks. And plus, we saw how bad they looked at the end of last season defensively. I just are Grant Williams, Omax, Lively, Dante Exum, like, are these guys going to fix the defensive issues for this team where they were one of the worst defensive teams in the league last season when they got Kyrie? Is that enough? So,
all right, I propose,
that's my rationale for having them as a 9 or a 10.
All right, I'll propose. I want to say Minnesota 7, but I don't. I'm gonna go Kings, Minnesota, Dallas, New Orleans.
I'm cool with that.
All right. I just got no. You can switch Dallas and Minnesota.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, with Minnesota, this is another team that feels like they're poised to take some kind of jump. Like they looked a lot better with Mike Conley at the one. Yeah, shout out to Jamie McDaniels, got a bag. But the big man duo just still freaks me out. And I like some of their depth additions, but they still feel a bit shaky there. I don't know, man. I don't know enough about how that big duo is going to look for this team to take a big time jump. I picked them to be the 2 seed last year. It burnt me really bad. Maybe that's why I'm a bit lower on them now, but I don't know.
I am going to be on record that I think New Orleans is better than 10, but I have to compromise at some point.
If they stay healthy, for sure. It's just, again, with this West, the way I'm banking on it is, do I actually think the Pelicans are going to be healthy? Not really. If you told me they stayed healthy and they were a top 5-6 seed, I'm not mad at it at all, because I think they've got that potential with Ingram, Zion, Trey Murphy. He's a UVA guy. We're both UVA fans. We went to UVA. Like, we both love Trey Murphy's game. I don't know who's actually going to be on the court for the Pelicans. So
I get it.
All right. So after all that debate, I think the thing we talked about the most were these bottom 4 teams in the West. But these are Western Conference standings. These are Eastern Conference standings. For the West, who do you have winning the Western Conference? Who's your conference finals matchup? If, like, you don't even have to go off of this because your predictions were obviously different. Who do you project being the Western Conference finalists and who wins the West?
Lakers and Denver.
Lakers, Denver. I have Denver, Phoenix. I think those 2 teams match up. And who do you have winning?
The Lakers.
I figured that was coming. I figured that was coming. I'm going to take Denver to go to back-to-back West or back-to-back finals, win back-to-back Western Conference finals. I don't want to bet against Nikola Jokic as the best player in the world right now. I do think the Lakers and Suns are really good. If any team is going to beat Denver, I think it is one of those 2 teams. I'm a little bit higher in Phoenix, I think, just because
the oldest man. Don't doubt the old man.
The oldest player in the league, LeBron James, man. I you know me, I'm a big LeBron guy. I'd like to see LeBron make another finals, but to me, I think Denver gets it done again and makes the finals. I do worry about their depth, like you said, but I think they could add pieces throughout the year. And knowing them, like, they'll just get great play from some of these young guys too. So
my finals is Lakers, Boston. Yours is Phoenix, Boston.
Denver, Boston.
Denver, Boston. Who wins?
I have the Boston Celtics winning in 7 games over the Denver Nuggets. Jason Tatum finals MVP.
I have Boston over the Lakers. Jason Tatum's final MVP in 6 games.
Man, LeBron losing a finals to Boston that's a heartbreaker. Yeah. Okay. So those are our NBA season predictions. Let's go ahead and do awards now. We can take a little bit less time on this because we don't have to debate everything.
Yeah. We don't have to debate. It's just like, I think this guy, and you're like, cool, yeah, I think this guy.
Geez, man, I did not realize we are going to fight so much about the bottom 4 teams in the West.
Be like that, brother.
All right. What award do we want to start with? Let's
work our way down. Let's start with MVP.
Yeah. Let's go and start with MVP. Who's your MVP?
So this is going to not make much sense at all. I'll explain my rationale. There's 3 guys in between. Luka, but as we just discussed, the Mavericks are going to be doo-doo. So I'm not going to probably pick Luka.
We'll see. We'll see in the Mavericks.
But then I'm between Tatum and Giannis.
Interesting. Okay.
And I think I want to pick Giannis because I think he got I think last year some people were kind of pissed that he didn't get more attention. Like, it was just Embiid and Jokic the whole time, and people were like, why not Giannis? Why not Giannis? And even Tatum, I think, kind of leaped him a little bit. Didn't he finish behind Tatum, or did he finish 3rd?
No, he finished 3rd. Tatum was 4th. And then Shea was 5th, by the way, if you're wondering.
I wasn't wondering, but that's okay. But I think the Celtics are going to be better than the Bucks, But I think that the additions of KP and Drew are gonna make Tatum's stats not look as good. So
we talked about this before. Before all the trades and stuff, Tatum was my MVP pick.
He was my pick
go
too.
Jason Tatum, but I do worry a bit about what his stats are going to look like with this new team. I think he has the potential to win because he's still the best player on a team that could be the best team in the league. And we did our standing predictions. The Celtics were the 1 seed. So I could see him winning that. Similar thing with Giannis. I do worry a little bit about having like Dame there. We'll see what Chris looks like. Like I think with the Dame acquisition, I could see Giannis getting a little less love for MVP because he's now got this superstar teammate. It's kind of the same thing in the West with like the Suns. Devin Booker, I think, and Kevin Durant are both capable of being candidates, but they could take away from each other. To me, Nikola Jokic feels like the pick. Last season he finished top 2. There are a lot of people that were saying, oh, he should have won over Embiid, which I think Embiid was very deserving. If you thought Jokic should have won, like Jokic was entirely deserving too, but I don't think Jokic got robbed.
It's a shame you had 2 centers have like 2 of the best years ever by centers.
Exactly. Like it's just, it was bound, Embiid was bound to win one at some point, but with the narrative that Jokic was robbed, which again, I don't personally believe, but with the narrative that Jokic was robbed.
Harden getting robbed a couple years back. 2018.
Are you really standing up for Harden right now out of all people as a Sixers fan?
I mean, that's how you know I firmly believe that one.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I think with Jokic, the Nuggets, like I said, I think they'll be the 1 seed again. People think he got robbed. He puts up ridiculous stats on a team that's really good. It feels like it could very well be his 3rd MVP season. So I'm going with him. I do think Tatum, Giannis are interesting. Anthony Davis, I kind of like as a dark horse
he's another
MVP.
Player. I have him in another award coming up.
I also have him in another award coming up. I think we have the same
rhyme with Meoy.
We'll get there. But yeah, very well done. Way to be discreet with that. But yeah, I mean, I think Anthony Davis could be interesting. We'll see because again, like LeBron's also there, but AD is one of the most.
Give me a dark horse pick.
If you want my true dark horse, Shea. If the Thunder, if we take a big jump, if we end up as like one of those top 4 or 5 seeds, why can't Shea get love? I also think who was it? There was someone else that I was thinking about. I mean, Steph Curry's interesting too. If the Warriors are good, like I feel like people forget Steph could potentially be an MVP guy.
I'm going old man for my dark horse.
LeBron,
because I'm still firmly believe the Lakers are going to be the 1 seed. Even though we didn't end up having them. I just think their team's really well-rounded. And I think people are just going to be slobbing on LeBron and just like really, drinking the Kool-Aid. And I think AD's going to be really good, but I think he is going to be like AD's defensive anchor. Spoiler alert, he's my DPOY pick. Which, first of all, I made these predictions like a couple weeks ago, like some of these. I had Anthony Davis as because people, like there was that preseason game a couple days ago where Anthony Davis just looked like freaking prime Hakeem Olajuwon out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I've had AD as my DPOY for like a couple weeks now.
I do want to say real quick for people wondering about the awards. For most of these, you have to play at least 65 games now to win, which is the concern with a guy like LeBron or Anthony Davis for these awards.
But there's no load management anymore, so we'll see. They canceled load management this year. The NBA DLC update, the no load management this year.
NBA patch came out, no load management anymore. It was too OP. Yeah, I think the only awards you don't have to play 65 for are, I think you don't have to play 65, I think, for Rookie of the Year and Most Improved, I think. Six-man of the year, you might. I don't remember. But six-man of the year, I feel like we typically see guys play that many games anyways. Like, it's typically guys that have been consistent bench players. But yeah, so Jokic, I'm going MVP. Your pick was Giannis?
Yep.
Okay. DPOY, I also have Anthony Davis as my defensive player of the year. It feels like a yearly tradition where a bunch of people pick AD to win DPOY. I think he's got, like, if he's ever going to do it, now is the time. The Lakers are good again.
Here's the thing.
With great defense.
The Lakers were bad for a season. Then they were kind of mid until they had made some I said updates. I guess they made their roster.
They also got the roster patch.
They got the roster patch. Oh my gosh, my do not disturb is turned off.
Wow.
No one talk to me. I am podcasting.
The peak of professionalism here on the pod.
Exactly. We keep it that way.
Oh yeah.
But I just think the Lakers are going to be in the spotlight more than ever. And if he plays good defensively, and I think they're going to be really good. Not that you have to be on a good team to win DPOY, but I think it helps with the attention. And the Lakers,
you got to be on at least a solid team.
They've been inconsistent. Like
the Lakers are going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league this season. Like if they stay healthy, they've got that possibility. Anthony Davis is one of the most impactful defenders, maybe even the most impactful defender in the league when he's on the court. It's just a matter of if he can play 65 games. And if he does, I think he's going to be one of the front runners for the award. So I agree with you. I'm going to go 80 as the depoy. Feels like this is a year where we probably see another first-year guy win it. I could see Jaren repeating.
If the Grizzlies they're going to put him at center and he's going to foul everybody. So no, I'm good.
Giannis, I think, is interesting for this as well.
I don't hate that if Giannis falls off the MVP train.
You've got Evan Mobley for Cleveland. Like, say they end up as one of the top 2 seeds, and they're a great defense again, like they were the best defense last year. I think Mobley could again be a depoy candidate.
I got a dark horse pick.
Who's your dark horse?
Miles Turner.
I don't hate that. I don't think the Pacers defense will be good enough. But if he does,
it's a dark horse pick for a reason.
That's true. If the Pacers figure out how to turn up the defense, for sure. My dark horse, who was it? Where did I?
I'm surprised you didn't say Chet.
I just said someone. Actually, I think I was gonna say Vic.
Wow, okay.
Vic's
I think
a dark
he makes
horse.
an all-defensive team. That's gonna be one of my takes.
If the Spurs are like a top 10 team and they're like a good defense, look, I could see Vic getting that kind of hype to be like, because he's going to be unbelievable. He averaged 2.8 blocks per game in the preseason in 21 minutes per game.
Dark horse 36. Hold on. Dark horse pick if he's healthy, Zion.
As depoy, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I mean,
honestly, last year I picked Zion as a dark horse MVP candidate, which I think could be the case again if he's healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be healthy, but okay, we can go ahead and move on now to Rookie of the Year, I guess.
I mean, I know you want to pick Chet, but I think it has to be Wemby.
It's probably going to be Wemby. If it's not Wemby, it will probably be Wemby. I think
it's one of Wemby, Chet, and Scoot. I think it's like if
it's
one of those 3. I'd be very shocked, very, very shocked. Even if like the top 3 was, if somebody's Brandon Miller, maybe if the Hornets kind of like blow it up and he gets just a ton of run because he's looked pretty good in the preseason. But I think it's one of those.
They just don't have like room for him to go out and thrive the way that Chet's going to be the defensive anchor. I think a really good defensive OKC team. Yeah, Wemby's going to do unbelievable things that make you think basketball is just a simulation out there every night. It's probably going to be Wemby. I'm going to be biased and pick Chet because I have to for the brand. But I will say right here, it's almost
my 6th man of the year pick is very biased.
Who's your 6th man of the year?
One of Melton or Kelly Oubre.
One of them. Mine's Immanuel Quickley.
What's yours?
Mine's Immanuel Quickley.
Oh, I don't hate that.
Going from finishing 2nd last year, Brogdon was, of course, the winner. He's over in Portland now. We don't know what's happening with him, and I don't think the Blazers are going to be very good. Ryan thinks the Blazers are about to win the championship, but I think Brogdon gets traded at some point this season somewhere else. I think he could start throughout the year potentially. I don't know. I just think there's too much up in the air to pick Brogdon to repeat. Quickley was the 2nd place finisher last year. He's great defensively, gets some buckets off the bench as well. Yeah, I think.
You don't think there's a way he sneaks into the starting lineup as a 2 and they move RJ to 3?
No, I think they'll keep Quentin Grimes out there. I think it works best for them.
I don't know, man. I feel like if they somehow like fall off a cliff a bit, I could see it be Brunson and Quickley together.
I just think it makes more sense to have Quickley out there as your backup one. Be that guy that kind of orchestrates the offense off the bench. I think they need that type of guy for that team. Like having Brunson just do his thing in the starting lineup. And that's another thing about Quickley too. Like at the end of last year, he got more and more buzz because Brunson missed some time and he had I think it was like a 38 piece or like a 40-point game. Like he slid into that starting lineup and thrived in that role. And people were debating whether or not that should count or if you should be like, because it's not technically like a 6-man thing, how much should you take that into account? To me, I think part of being a 6-man is being ready for those opportunities. Like if your starter goes out, they need you. So I also like that too.
You're in line. I see the vision.
Exactly. So I think that kind of matters. And I think Quickley's got that potential to, if Brunson misses time, step up in a big way. So
who's your dark horse pick? Do you have one?
Dark horse pick?
Mine's Josh Hart.
Josh Hart's interesting. I like Josh Hart if he's I guess he won't be out there starting. Yeah, I mean, Josh Hart's an interesting piece too over there for the Knicks. They've got a couple of guys that I like a lot. Norman Powell for the Clippers is someone else who I thought about. Malik Monk for the Kings, I like a lot as a potential.
I like that too.
6 man of the year type guy. Who else? I had a couple of players in mind.
Rui Hachimura, if they keep him on the bench.
I think it might even more so be. I mean, he could be there. Gabe Vincent is interesting if if D'Lo starts for majority of the year as that one. Chris Paul, if he comes off the bench,
dude, Chris Paul 6th man of the year. I kind of like that.
If I knew he was coming off the bench for the whole year, I would pick Chris Paul because I think he's going to do a lot for that team. But he's supposed to start at least to start the season with Draymond missing some time. There's rumors that he could even start for a majority of the year. So I don't know. We don't know enough about his role, so I'm going to be safe and go Emmanuel Quickley. But Chris Paul, I think, could definitely win if he actually does come off the bench. I like him a lot as a pick.
I like that too. All right, Coach of the Year. We might have the same one here.
Mark Daigneault, Oklahoma City Thunder. I also have
Mark Daigneault as my pick.
There we go. Good pronunciation, by the way. People do not know how to say his name. You've heard me say it a million times. But
so if we don't pick Mark, who's the Pacers coach? I don't even know.
It's Rick Carlisle.
Rick Carlisle would be my other pick because I think they're going to be pretty good this year.
I like that too. It feels like it's typically a team that takes some kind of jump or finishes at like one of the top seeds. But with the amount of talent that like the Nuggets won a championship, I don't know if Michael Malone's going to get that love. I don't know about like Joe Mazzulla or Adrian Griffin maybe in his first season with the Bucks.
I think if the Lakers keep my #1 seed narrative alive, I could see Ham getting some
I think Darvin Ham is a really good candidate because the Lakers could be that team that takes the jump, but they're also like one of the top seeds. Quinn Snyder, I think if the Hawks take a bit of a jump, like being kind of the big new piece there, I like him as a dark horse candidate out there too.
Also like Nick Nurse if Harden buys in. And
if he gets Harden to play basketball.
I mean, that should get some consideration right there. Or I think he's interesting. Paul Reed into Siakam like he said he was.
Yeah. If the Heat figure out some way to be one of the better seeds in the East, maybe finally Eric Spoelstra gets love. I can't believe he still doesn't have a coach of the year.
That's insane. If they had a playoff coach of the year, Spoelstra would have had like 6 by now.
Like 30 of them. But yeah, I've got Mark Daigneault. I think we take a jump. He finished 3rd this past year. I think he was 3rd. So I think he's got the potential to do so. We're one of the younger teams in the league. If we're a firm playoff team, I don't see any reason why he can't win the award.
All right, most improved. Who you got?
Most improved player. This is a guy that I've been sticking with. The odds on him are not great, but to me, most improved player typically comes out of nowhere. So I'm going to go with Obi Toppin as my most improved player.
Obi Toppin. Oh,
I'm taking Obi Toppin. He's got a big new role over there in Indiana. He's probably going to start at the 4. They play fast, which is exactly how his game works. He's a great transition player, can catch lobs, can knock down the 3. At the end of last season, when Julius Randle missed some time, Obi Toppin came into the lineup and looked phenomenal playing out there. He's going to get a lot more minutes. Last season, his stats were rough because he didn't play a lot. He played, let me get the exact stats real quick. He put up 7.4 points per game in 15.7 minutes. You double that to like 30 minutes per game potentially. He puts up like 15, 16 points on good shooting. The Pacers take a jump too. I think Obi Toppin's a really interesting piece as a potential most improved guy. So I want to go with him. I know there's clear front runners like Maxey could be a guy, Mikal Bridges. I know there's also like a bunch of the like 2nd year or 3rd year guys that could take jumps, but
2nd year players don't get the love.
No, they don't get the love. And I just don't like the idea of like these top picks getting like most improved player. Like if you were a former like 1st or 2nd, like Cade Cunningham is a most improved player guy. That doesn't
He didn't play enough last year
He played like 17 games. I'm not big on that.
Does the NBA have a comeback player of the year award?
No, they should though.
I'll say they did. That's what I would pick Cade for.
We should when we get to the end here, let's predict our comeback player of the year.
I just said mine, Cade.
Okay.
So
Ben Simmons, baby.
Oh man.
It's probably Cade.
Is it bad that Ben Simmons could get most improved just because he was been so doo-doo? And if he just like gets back to form, he would like actually be an
It's MIP. So interesting to me. What would happen if a player
fell off?
If a player was like an all-star, like because Ben Simmons was all-star caliber and he was
top all-star caliber, he was an all-star.
Well, yeah, he was an all-star player. Yeah. All-star player, top 2 DPOY finisher, one of the better players on a 1-seeded 6.
Did he get All-NBA? Did he ever get any All-NBA picks?
I don't think so. No, I don't think he would have gotten that. But if Ben Simmons bounced back or like suddenly became an all-star again, would he be, because he didn't, like he improved from what he recently did, but he was already at that level. To me, that's more like a comeback than a most improved. That'd be a very interesting
narrative.
That's something I'd be very interested to see. Like if Ben Simmons came out here this year and became like an all-NBA caliber player just in some crazy world, what would that look like? Like, would he get consideration? I don't know. But I've got Obi Toppin for that award. I mentioned all those other players. Who's your pick? I didn't even ask your pick.
I'm going Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole is also
I think he's just gonna let it fly. And I think that he already is a guy that gets a lot of buzz. And Maxey would probably be my pick if Harden somehow was like not coming back. But
yeah,
I think
if
Max
Harden
will
gets
get
moved,
better,
I
but I
think
don't
he's a
think
good
he'll
pick.
have the jump. But I really like your Obi Toppin pick. I like that.
Yeah, I want to come out of the blue with it because like I'm gonna pull up the most improved player odds, like who they have
I
at
think
the
Poole
top,
Max is
because
the top and
it's
Bridges.
Bridges, Maxi Poole, then it's like Cade Cunningham, like Anthony Simons is interesting, but I don't know how good the Blazers are going to be, and they do still have like Ayton, Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp, like a lot of guys are going to maybe take some touches away from him. I said Scoot.
I thought they had Scoot as a most improved player. I'm like,
oh no. I'm saying the Blazers have all those guys. So
whatever
Simons is a bit
sportsbook you're
shaky.
looking at is capping.
But yeah, I don't know, guys like a Scotty Barnes. I don't know, man. He was like a top 4 pick. He could maybe. One guy I think I heard Kenny mention at some point, OG Anunoby maybe in Toronto. Now that Fred VanVleet's gone, they need someone to pick up more touches. He's in a contract year, so maybe OG takes a jump. But yeah, I like Obi Toppin as my pick.
I get behind that.
The Jordan Poole I think is a good one as well for that over there. Maybe even like a guy like Tyus Jones if he comes out and just balls out as a starting point guard. Who knows?
All right, I rock with it.
Okay,
so what do we got left? Clutch player.
We got Clutch Player of the Year as our last award.
We're going Damian Lillard.
I was going to say, for the audio listeners, Ryan is tapping his watch. Funnily enough, I also have Damian Lillard winning this award.
Oh, okay. I just think he's going to be in the spotlight. Like, the Blazers have been good in the past, but the Bucks are like, the Blazers have been one of those teams where like people think they're more like middle of the pack. They've never, I feel like, been like a guaranteed 1 or 2 team like people are predicting the Bucks to be.
Yeah, they haven't been championship contenders.
Not that Giannis is a good closer, but I mean, all I could think about with Giannis as a closer is just that one play where like he had the ball and he dribbled it and passed. It's like Grayson Allen with like 2 seconds on the clock
at the end of the Heat game when Grayson Allen hit like he hit like a tweened hezzy when the clock expired and didn't even get a shot off.
I just think Dame's gonna be like, Giannis is still the best. That's still his team. And he's still the best player. But you unfortunately but Damian Lillard he's a closer. And I just think he's going to have a lot of primetime moments. There's going to be a lot of nationally televised games. There's going to be a lot of like close games. And I think he's going to get the shots. So Dame's my pick.
All the reasons you said are exactly why Dame is. Dame has been one of the clutchest players in the league his whole career. He's got those big time shots, big spotlight over there in Milwaukee. And now they've actually got an award for Clutch Player of the Year. So this is an award Dame could have won in the past.
Who's your dark horse pick?
Shea, I went back and forth between him and Shea. Shea had a number of game winners last year. I think we also have a spotlight on us. So I could see a guy like him getting the award. I mean, Joel Embiid was one of the most clutch players in the league last season. I think he could be up there too. Guys like Jimmy Butler, De'Aaron Fox, of course, again, if the Kings are good. I was talking about this in my video. This one's really hard because we don't know yet if like, does voter fatigue exist for an award like Clutch Player of the Year? Like, how does that work? Like, is there going to be voter fatigue? Does it matter how good your team is? Because last season, the Bulls were, I think, the 10 seed and DeMar DeRozan finished like 2nd or 3rd, or like was like one of the top contenders.
Because DeRozan didn't have that stretch where he had like 3 game winners and like 40
hours. Yeah. So he had like a ridiculous stretch. Like he's been really clutch, but it's like we don't know yet how the voting for this award works. Is it going to be a voter fatigue thing? Like, is De'Aaron Fox not going to get love because he won it last year? Or does that really matter for a clutch award? Like, this one to me is very interesting for this upcoming season because we don't know what the voting is going to look like. So that's part of the reason it was hard to, and I'm like, again, I talked about that in my video, but it was hard to come up with like top candidates for this award because I'm kind of just looking at who's historically been clutch, and that varies a lot from year to year. Like there are players who are usually clutch, but you can miss like a couple shots here and there, and all of a sudden your clutch field goal percentage or whatever falls off a cliff, and it's like, do you win the award or not? So
my dark horse pick is going to be the Claw.
Kawhi is a good pick for that award. If he plays a lot, he is one of those traditional clutch guys. I wonder how Clutch Player of the Year impacts a player's legacy.
They never won a Clutch Player of the Year, so they can't make the Hall of Fame.
Braun comes out and wins a Clutch Player of the Year, unanimous GOAT.
Yeah, does that finally put him over the edge?
I'm trying to think
of is that all the awards?
Yeah, that's everything. I was just trying to think of last second, like other Clutch Player of the Year type guys. Brunson was one of the most clutch players in the league. I could see him.
Trae Young had moments.
Trae Young had moments. He had a down season last year. I think Trae's about to have a big bounce back.
Jamal Murray hits big shots.
That is true. I mean, even I think Jokic would probably get the love over him.
Could there be like a least clutch player and we give it to like Siakam?
I'm pretty sure Siakam was clutch last year. I'm gonna check his stats real quick. I'm gonna check Siakam's clutch stats.
I just remembered the Twitter where he had like 3 game winner attempts like in a week span, and he just did like the unlimited spin move glitch.
Yeah, and he just missed them.
People were
that was rough.
pictures.
I think it was literally 2 games back to back of Siakam missing game winners, which that reminded me of something. I forgot what it was. Also, why is it? Oh, I was on this season. I was like, why is it showing me no stats? Okay, where is Siakam? I need to filter this. I want you to guess what Siakam's clutch field goal percentage was.
You got it?
Not yet. I'm trying to find.
The only issue with this, I don't know what a good one is.
I'll give you frames of reference.
Yeah, give me a couple. Yeah.
Okay, his clutch field goal percentage was okay. So I got it. So for reference, De'Aaron Fox clutch player of the year was 53% last year. You had DeMar DeRozan at 47. I'm looking for like top volume guys, like guys who actually scored a lot. Brunson was 51.6.
What if like Embiid and Tatum?
Embiid was 48.7. Jason Tatum did not play a lot of clutch games last year. Tatum was 35% from the field.
All right, and so Siakam, I'm gonna go 42.
Unfortunately, Siakam was not great in the clutch last year. 36.2%.
Dang, man. Yeah, so I'm a hater. Least clutch player of the year.
Who else would be least clutch player of the year?
Can you sort by like lowest percentage?
But it's
gonna find like a player that's really good. Like they're gonna have like probably random guys, but like find like
I'm gonna find players that were games played is greater than or equal to you played at least 15 clutch games.
Yeah. And then just look for the first like really good player.
Okay.
Like, don't be like, oh, Nurkic had a 5%.
Games played 15. Ooh, I'm gonna have field goals attempted per game at least above like 1.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's showing me like Matisse Thybulle down here. Okay. It's Fred VanVleet. He shot 29.9% in
so
clutch.
So the Raptors are just they didn't have that clutch gene last year.
Yeah, now they're Siakam's about to turn up and take that spot. Yeah, Fred VanVleet 29.9%. Maxey kind of struggled. Maxey shot 30% in the clutch last year, 23% from 3. Klay Thompson 30.3% from the field. Interesting. I hadn't looked at this before. Randall was 33.8% from the field. Randall will get to the end of the game and he will miss like 4 shots in a row and then hit the most ridiculous step back fadeaway 363 you've ever seen.
Yeah, so then he gets like the anecdotal like he hit a great shot, but then you forget about the 6 he missed prior.
I'm pretty sure he did that against the Heat this year. I'm pretty sure he hit like that crazy like step back like bank it in 3, I think, to win. Because I remember Matt being super mad about that one. Shout out our friend Matt again, the one who helped Ryan build his Blazers prediction. But yeah, I think that's everything. I know you talked about wanting to do like a couple lines for each other, like an over/under type thing. Do you still want to do that real quick?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't got any.
That's okay.
But I do want to do each of us before we end one bold prediction for opening night and who wins.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, I'll go first for Nuggets, Lakers. You do for Warriors, Suns. For Nuggets, Lakers, I'm going to say that Anthony Davis has a 30-10, like 3 or 4 block type game. I think AD goes out there and makes a statement in game 1, and the Lakers actually end up winning.
I also think the Lakers win, and I think Jamal Murray has 35 points.
Okay, big Jamal Murray game.
I think Jokic is going to put up a triple-double, but it's going to be one of those like 12, 10, 10 games. Like it's gonna be like a very like one of those games where people are like, oh, he put up the Mon Green stat line, and Jamal Murray kind of carries.
Okay. What's your prediction for the Warriors Suns game?
Warriors Suns. I think the Warriors win, and people start calling the Suns frauds just because they lose one game. And
keep in mind, no Draymond. Keep that in mind.
I know. And Steph puts up a masterclass.
Steph masterclass. I'm going to say Durant masterclass going up against his former team in the Suns.
I thought about that too, but
I think Durant.
I feel like one of these teams has got to be called fraud, so I'm going to go with the Suns. If they had the most hype around them, it's their first game as a new team.
I'm going to say the Suns win and Kevin Durant puts up 35 points. I'll go with that. So, all right. Well, that's it. That's our last podcast before the season begins. Appreciate y'all sticking with us through the off season. I know we started podcast mid off season, which isn't the best idea, but throughout the season, it's going to be consistent. You're going to get episodes once or twice a week, depending on what's going on in the league, reacting to games, doing more of like the games we did throughout the year. We can do like maybe like weekly predictions type things. Maybe we should keep track of like predictions that we make, and we can like keep a score throughout the year based on like, we can give each other like a game or two throughout the week and be like, who do you think is going to win, kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
So real quick, I'm going to write down actually in the podcast doc we have here. So you pick the Lakers and the Warriors, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan, Lakers, Warriors, and I went Lakers, Suns. Okay. So maybe we can do like a pick 'em thing throughout the year, see who ends up having the better record at times. But yeah, we appreciate y'all watching as always. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Comment down below some of your predictions. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? Call us idiots if we have things that were out of place. Everything in between. Really appreciate y'all sticking with us through the off season. A lot of cool stuff coming up for the regular season. Want to have guests on here too at some point soon. But yeah, we appreciate y'all tuning in as always. Ryan, you got anything you want to wrap up with?
I got to be up in 6 hours for work, so let's go to bed.
All right. Comment down below. Ryan loves the Blazers if you made it to this point in the episode. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you later. Peace.